Welcome to Underrated. I am your host Alex, and the first episode of House of the Dragon has dropped, setting the stage for a Targaryen clash. It introduced us to a cast of new characters that will hopefully one day become as legendary as those who lived and died, especially died, in Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon takes place nearly 200 years before the events depicted in Game of Thrones. That means those of us eager to check in with their favorite, surviving, characters are out of luck, as none of them have been born yet. Though we may be in luck, as news of a Jon Snow-focused sequel series recently broke, as House of the Dragon's name suggests, it's all about the Targaryens, who ruled Westeros for 300 years before the Mad King Aerys Targaryen was unseated by Robert Baratheon. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. Warning, spoilers ahead. Let's get into it. King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, grandson of Aegon the Conqueror, the legendary dragon rider who first conquered the Seven Kingdoms and created the Targaryen dynasty, is left without an heir. A council forms to help choose his successor between his granddaughter Rhaenys and his grandson Viserys. The patriarchal members choose Viserys, and it's his rule where our story really begins. Unable to produce a son, King Viserys faces, years later, the same dilemma that put him in power. When a council forms to name a successor between his brother Daemon and his young daughter Rhaenyra, King Viserys tells them that he will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter. It's the kind of indecisive declaration perfect for an impending civil war. Of course, we're just getting started. Princess Rhaenyra seems to be our new Daenerys. She loves riding dragons, is ambitious for her age, and doesn't want to spend her life pumping out children. Daenerys wanted to break the wheel, and Rhaenyra wants to create a new world order. Her uncle Daemon, however, is our first main antagonist. As commander of the City Watch, he spends his days avoiding council meetings and sneaking in to sit on the Iron Throne while the king is away. One night, Daemon abuses his power and sends his golden-caped knights to murder random people in the street. Casual. King's Landing will learn to fear the color gold, he declares. His men engage in beheadings, genital mutilations, and they sexually assault women. He considers the people he attacked criminals, but it seems like he just committed a massacre of innocents. Viserys is angry with his behavior, as is Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King. Otto disagrees with his methods of keeping the peace, suggesting that Daemon might be better off back in the Vale with his neglected wife. Daemon proceeds to call her a bronze bitch and openly insults her to the entire council by offering her to any man who wants her. It's just the first episode, but House of the Dragon clearly wants us to think that Daemon is a monster of a man. Earlier, he presented Rhaenyra with a Valyrian steel necklace. Let's just say his intentions did not come with the kind of vibe that an uncle is supposed to have with his niece. Incest may be a Targaryen norm, but it must say something that Daemon is the only one entertaining the idea at the moment. His name is one letter away from Daemon, and he's certainly acting like it. Viserys' pregnant wife, Queen Aemma, goes into labor the following morning. It's not going well. She had many failed pregnancies before, but the king is desperate to produce a male heir. Forced to choose between his queen and the baby, Viserys chooses his heir and the queen is sliced open. At her funeral, it is revealed that the baby only lived for a few hours. During this tragedy, which is truly one of the most harrowing and bloody scenes HBO has ever shown its viewers, House of Dragon intercuts the terror of Queen Aemma's murder with one and carnage at a jousting tournament. George R.R. Martin said that this series would be different because there is no one to root for. In this one episode alone, almost every main character has committed an atrocious act of violence. Later, Otto Hightower once again brings up the topic of succession. The day may be closer than we think, because King Viserys has some weird, putrid wound on his back that seems beyond healing. Viserys occasionally cuts his fingers by accident while sitting on the Iron Throne, too. It's an ominous metaphor for what happens to those who rise to power. But it's also kind of silly. Maybe it wasn't the best idea to build a pointy chair made of swords. Many view Prince Daemon, the heir presumptive, as a potential tyrant should he claim the Iron Throne. The council unanimously agrees. Finally, fed up with Daemon following a drunken rant about how his stillborn nephew was heir for a day, King Viserys reprimands his younger brother. Daemon retorts that the king's closest advisors are simply using him to gain power. While he may be not wrong, calling the king weak after all the evil he's done over the past few days wasn't the smartest play. Viserys orders Daemon to return to his wife in the Vale. Then, he names Rhaenyra as his heir. His lords reluctantly bend the knee, but the eye-rolling does not go unnoticed by this viewer at home. I was doing some eye-rolling myself every time we cut from a dragon to what was essentially a boardroom meeting. House of the Dragon promised us the glorious age of dragons. Not horrific, failed pregnancies. It feels weird to be back in Westeros, especially since the last 2 Game of Thrones seasons left viewers on such a sour note, but I'm strapped in and ready for another wild ride. I just hope that ride is on the back of one of the many dragons I was told would be here. Subscribe if you want to see more, like and check out this other cool videos. Thank you for watching and see you soon.